Well, good morning and welcome back to Cityline. With me, I have someone I think I could have lunch with every single day for a year, and I would just begin to scratch the surface of how much we have in common, but also how much we love to serve our community. Please join me in welcoming Stuart Earley. You are the Executive Director of the Tahoma Audubon Society. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. And I must say one thing first before we get started, because I didn't have time last time I was here, was to thank you so much during the pandemic for keeping my wife's spirits lifted when she was trapped in the UK for 14 months.
Your wife is a peach. She is what we would say in Great Britain, she's a pisser. She's so good. I love your Emma. So well done for you for marrying, Emma.
I got lucky.
You're pretty styling yourself there, Mr. Stewart. So last time you were here, you gave us the scoop about a potential name change and asked our viewers to give you their ideas for a new name for the Tahoma Audubon Society. So tell us, how's that going?
It's going great. We've had probably we're up to about 45 different variants.
Wow.
Because a lot of people come up with the same name.
Right.
And it's interesting, some hot favorites are developing. And I think Golden Gate Audubon came up with a name of the Golden Gate Bird Alliance.
Okay.
And we definitely want to have bird or birds in our title, and we definitely want to keep the Tahoma.
Oh, you bet.
So I think that's one of the hot favourites, and it's really exciting. And what we're determined to do is this isn't just about the name change. This is about a very substantive change and doing things that are more inclusive, more welcoming, and more accessible to our community, because we really want to engage with our communities.
Yes, absolutely. And when you are going through kind of a rebranding of sort, and you're really honing in on a mission and vision that may not have been what it originally set out to be, and you ask the public for their opinion, boy, you got to be prepared for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's been very interesting.
Yes.
And it's been very, very humbling in some ways, because when we've talked to members of our community, you can feel that the genuine hurt that some people have when they are dealing with organizations that have names which have very dark connotations with slavery and white supremacy. And so it's been a very fascinating journey for all of us.
I bet you have tiptoed gently and carefully to make sure that any hurt that has been around the founder or the name is being healed as we speak, and we're ready for a new name. In practical terms, how are you going to be doing this?
Well, I think we're focusing on three different aspects. There's an overall thing, we need to be more welcoming.
Yes.
But we also want to focus on conservation, education, and recreation. And on the conservation side, we're embarking on this 10,000 Trees For Tacoma campaign.
Wow.
And this is about, Tacoma has tree cover of about 20%.
Is that good or bad?
Well, to put it in perspective, New York, which some of us think of as a concrete jungle, has 39% tree cover.
Wait a minute. New York has 39% and Tacoma has 20%?
Yep.
We got to fix that.
Absolutely. Tacoma has the lowest tree canopy in the whole of Puget Sound.
All right.
So we are working with City of Tacoma. We want to try and address the balance, because tree canopy is a bit like a wealth map. If you look at a map from Tacoma from above, you'll see trees all over the place, but there's maybe 55% tree cover in some neighborhoods, and it's in single digits in other neighborhoods.
So it's an averaging that 20%.
Yeah. So we want to focus on creating more trees, planting more trees in the areas which are less affluent.
Absolutely.
So we want to try and restore the balance between wealthy areas and less affluent areas.
So trees are important, and trees also fall into the equity index when we look at sustainability and making livable neighborhoods and addressing the unhoused issue here in Tacoma. So you're going to do, that will change, and then obviously because you've just educated me on a tree canopy, so what will that look like, and how do we get people to go out and plant more trees?
Well, I think there's a number of programs, and we're working with City of Tacoma on this new one of 10,000. We're trying to do this over 4 years.
Okay.
So planting about 2,500 trees per annum.
Okay.
So we're putting together all getting our ducks in a row and dotting I's and crossing T's on this. But we have a great sponsor already, so the Murray Family Foundation, who have kick-started this with some seed corn money, and that's going to help us provide trees free of charge to people and be able to plant them in their areas.
Oh, so, I love that. So that it's going to be a huge increase, and now you definitely have to come back every quarter because I want to see that percentage. Maybe you could bring like one of those bar graphs with you. Here we go. That where the thermometer goes up. How are you going to achieve a more inclusive and accessible approach with recreation? Because the Tahoma Audubon, if you were to ask me, close your eyes, Amanda, what do you see? I see people shooting birds.
Yeah, that's not a good image.
Yeah, it's not. So how do we get around that?
Well, I think in terms of recreation, we are introducing a number of different programs. So one thing we've already had a couple of pilots on is what we call birdability.
Okay.
And that is addressing people who are, are less able than other people, and how we can introduce them to birds and bird walks and things like that. So we're working with partners on that one, and it's going really well. We also want to have more fun things. This is actually one of our...
I'm like, look, this looks like fun. Who are these people?
This was one of our pilots on the birdability scheme, and second from the right is my colleague Suzanne Harkness, who led this walk. And these are all people who have challenges of one sort or another. And it was a great opportunity for these people to get out and to see some really fun birds. So it's injecting a bit of fun to things. We have a Joy of Birds program. We also have big bird walks for beginners. So it's all about trying to really energize people and introduce them to birding and take away some of the barriers.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, birding to me is so fascinating. And I've always liked birds, but the older I get, the more I really start to hone in and listen to them, and I wait for a certain sound. When I travel and I get to some place, the first morning I wake up, I grab my journal and I put down what kind of bird sounds I hear, because the chickadee, chickadee, chickadee that I have here is not what they have in Virginia.
Yeah, it can vary a lot. Our favourite is because we have a barred owl that's near us, and every now and again you hear the "Who cooks for you?"
Who cooks for you? Oh, I love that. I love that. So picking up on that point, the education, the accessibility, but sometimes people see birding as a small number of people, like we saw on the screen, and sometimes it sounds more exclusive than inclusive.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think some bird groups are very exclusive. They pride themselves on the number of birds they've seen and everything. That's why we want to try and make things more accessible, more fun. So if you look at our website and the programs we're putting together, it's all about enabling people to participate without having to know huge amounts on birds. I know a little bit about birds. I can, when we look at the birds on screen,
is that a woodpecker?
Yep.
Okay.
And we also have a thing we did recently with the Beekeepers Association of Pierce County.
Yes.
Which was a fun thing where we had fun facts, like with a woodpecker. Did you know a woodpecker coils its tongue round its brain for when it's pecking at the tree bark to give it some form of insulation?
Oh my goodness. Okay, see, I grew up, you didn't, but I did, with Johnny Carson on the couch. Okay. Whenever they would bring in the birds and the birds would fly around the set, but there was always a nugget of something.
Yes.
And you just given me the nugget. That's amazing. I bet you are very popular at cocktail parties.
Not always.
Not always. Okay, good. All right. So you mentioned the Murray Family Foundation, and they're supporting the 10,000 Trees campaign. Is there anybody else you want to mention before we have to say goodbye?
Yes, definitely. The Mike Carey, who is the urban forest manager at City of Tacoma, is a great guy, and we're working with him on tree canopy and stuff like that. There's Sally Larson, who is one of our board directors, who it was her idea of the 10,000 trees, and she's a great board director, terribly enthusiastic person about trees. And I also want to thank the Office of Equity and Human Rights in the City of Tacoma, who have been great partners and have really enabled us to think about how we become a more welcoming organisation and more inclusive and more accessible.
Just the ripple effects of what you just said, because I know those people in this city, and I think, wow, you have really embraced and said, come one, come all, and let's change this. Last question for you. When do you think you're going to have a new name?
We have an annual meeting of members in February.
Okay.
And one of the decisions that body will then make is the new name.
Okay.
So it's the end of February, we should have a new name, and I'm happy to come back straight after that and tell you about it.
Yeah, I'm like, you have to promise that you're going to announce this name on the couch. Okay, you have to text me from like the annual meeting and go, this is what it is, but I'll see you on Thursday on the couch. Last few moments here of gratitude, who do we need to thank?
Apart from the people who I've already mentioned, you Amanda. We always appreciate you and your support, and you do so much good for this community.
Thank you.
And you're such a great human being.
Oh my gosh, well, I will tell you that I think that my grandmother did a great job on me, so thank you very, very much. I want you back on this couch sooner than later. And next time you come on the couch, will you bring us some trees? And maybe some tools, not that we're going to plant a tree in TV Tacoma, but I think it would be fun to kind of have a table and to kind of talk about, if you start planting trees, what do you need to be aware of? Because I don't know how to plant a tree, but I want to learn from you.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today. And give Emma my love.
I will do.
All right. When we come back, Mary Michael Stupp is going to be in the house. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back.